Yeah, I think it's just coaches knowing their players. Just from a physical therapy standpoint, there's a lot of injuries that we see when people are overtired, overtrained. You know, we see a lot of ski injuries, and when you get injured, that last run on the hill, and we see it a lot. You know, I thought I could do one more run. I was out all day. I think, I don't know, 90% of my skiing injuries are that last run on the day. Just fatigued, they're not really sure, they get a little sloppy. So from my standpoint, you know, if you're just seeing technique breakdown on a practice or at a game, to me that's an indication I don't have enough rest. All right, great question.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, please.
So off of that, injuries happen when you're tired, but then how do we train, I mean, they're going to be tired in games, right? So how do you train to prepare them for that tired? Is it just, it's all got to be prep, or is there a way to train efficiently when you are tired?
We're out of time. So, like Mike said, those injuries are a byproduct of fatigue. So as fatigue, as you know, the saying is fatigue makes cowards of us all. So as fatigue sets on, we lose motor control. We lose motor control, we become less efficient, so we have two options. One, early failure or injury, right? Means basically where it goes. And so the training piece, training up to game intensities and durations and beyond, right? Finding methodologies where you can safely train a tired athlete at increased intensities is going to be the best insurance for game preparation. Make sense?
Let's talk about nutrition. What are the best nutrition strategies for tournament play and also for pre and post practice? We'll go the opposite way this time. John, you're up.
Speaking on where I came from with athletes, I do a lot of it's nutritional. So when they're free, they're going to need something that's going to give them more carbohydrates. So I use a product called UCAN, which is a zero sugar super carb. A lot of endurance athletes use it, but a lot of power athletes have been using it. That's the way I fuel a lot of them throughout the day. So usually I'll tell them to fuel that way before a game so that they have the energy to sustain along with some protein. Afterwards is the same thing. I need to make sure that they're getting some carbs, and now I want to load them up with protein since they have that muscle fatigue go through. They've used energy, they need to build protein back in their body. So I use either a vegan or a whey one depending on their food allergies. But that's how nutritionally I attack it, and I just make sure they constantly stay hydrated the entire time too, because usually you get a lot of athletes who stay underhydrated as well. So that's how I attack it nutritionally.
I advise anybody that wants to really analyze their nutrition uptake and really assess it is to take a 7-day nutrition log. You may think that you're eating good and that you're eating a diet that's going to enhance performance, but if you really are able to objectively assess it, then it's really eye-opening to see what you really do eat regularly and to assess that.
I agree with Carla, but I also think, so for me, my big thing is within 15 minutes of finishing a workout, we need to get something on board. And typically for me, that is pushed more towards carbohydrate than it is protein. And then I think there's a magic 3-hour window post-workout that we need to get a meal in that person, and it's a real food meal. I'm not as big a fan of supplementation as most people. I don't supplement. I don't recommend it for my athletes. I have them eat real food, whole food. Post-workout, like I said, within 15 minutes, we get carbohydrates on board for optimum recovery, for ATP recovery. The protein synthesis is something that's going to take time. So our motto is always stress them, feed them, and rest them.
So kind of before you give it up, tournament play, we talked all about the car over. We have back-to-back games, little window, like how do you, and like usually the last game could be for the top seed of the whole thing, so your last match may be your toughest. How do you nutritionally kind of stack that so if you start at 8, you're not done by, you've got something left in the tank at 5. Any suggestions on that?
So Mike's question was, if tournament play, you're going to start at 8 a.m., you're playing multiple games throughout the day, 8 to 5, how do you stack your food in? So you got to feed your athletes all day long, and so you got to prep for that. So you bring their post-game meals, right? For me, that's almost like when I have athletes that are doing endurance racing, right? They're taking something on board every 90 minutes, right? It's not a big meal, but every 90 minutes, because what we don't want them to deplete muscle glycogen. We don't want them to start dipping into liver glycogen, and so we have to keep that up, right? So that's mixed, slowly assimilated carbohydrates and proteins, and then when you get a break, you got to feed them.
I agree. It's kind of tricky, and I think that if you go back and do the 7-day diet, sometimes even just a 3-day diet, where one of the days is a weekend day, it becomes really eye-opening, and you realize, oh, I don't eat that well. And even with young athletes, if you can get them to think about eating a colorful diet that's close to the ground, so that means it's real food, it's not highly processed, and 5 colors a day, and white, as in white rice, white bread, white potato, should not be one of the colors that you eat. Just keep it simple, but again, you've got to eat regularly because you need energy. But from a bigger picture, when they come into that tournament, they need to be well fed for that tournament. So that's part of what's going to have them be successful during the tournament is that they've already have lots of food on board. They're not coming in dehydrated or depleted. And they have adequate rest, which is tricky.